They are the judge's eyes and ears in Louisville, making sure that LMPD and the city are doing what the consent decree says that they should. They're the ones who are holding them accountable.
Tonight, the follow-up here at 5. Louisville leaders today who met privately with Department of Justice officials explaining how the federal consent decree will be working in our community. New tonight in our continuing coverage of this historic moment for Metro Police, your tax dollars. How is Louisville going to pay for it? It's what we're going to look at tonight at 5. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Profit.
And I'm Connie Leonard. Part of the deal is hiring an independent monitor with a multi-million-dollar price tag that Louisville taxpayers will have to cover. And tonight, Isaiah Kim Martinez is learning the total cost will likely be higher than the city's initial projection. So, Isaiah, why is that?
Well, Connie, Doug, let's start with what we know. And that's what Mayor Greenberg told us in that news conference. The city will pay a maximum of $3 million over the next 2 years to cover the cost of that independent monitor who will measure LMPD's progress on federally mandated reforms. But actually putting the reforms into practice will likely cost more, I'm told. Here's Metro Council member Kevin Kramer, the vice chair of the Budget Committee.
My concern is that that calculation is probably lower than what the actual expense is going to be. Historically, when you look at consent decrees across the country, folks have had one level of expectation and had a different reality.
Now, the city has $375,000 budgeted so far for consent decree monitoring. Councilmember Shamika Parrish-Wright believes the money needs to come out of the LMPD's budget to avoid hurting other investments into the community. Now, remember, in recent years, more than $40 million in taxpayer dollars have gone to settle claims of police misconduct. Some attorneys telling me the decree will essentially pay for itself by avoiding some of those lawsuits.
We know the answer to this. Other communities have paid millions and millions of dollars. So right now we're only talking about $1.457 million per year for just 2 years.
For just 2 years, right? And that is just specifically to cover the monitor's costs. We're not talking about infrastructure changes, new folks LMPD might need to hire to implement some of these reforms. And Doug's right. If you extend this over several years, some of these other cities, the mayor has even said it, have paid $50, $60, $70 million. And again, that all falls on the bill of the Louisville taxpayer.
I saw some other Metro Council members talking today about they were kind of annoyed that the mayor had gone ahead and signed it before the new administration
it's kind of
takes
the
over.
elephant in the room, Connie. Essentially, if the mayor and the police chief had just stalled and waited, whatever word you want to use, likely once President-elect Donald Trump takes office, his Department of Justice likely wouldn't have pursued this consent decree as hard, or if at all. Now it's legally binding, or will be, and it moves forward.
All right, thank you, Isaac.
Thanks, Isaac.
But the way our city works, the mayor does the negotiations, the executive branch negotiates, then they bring it to the Metro Council.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks, Isaiah. Well, a reminder that you can read the full 242-page consent decree yourself. We've got it for you on our website, WHAS11.com.
Given the evidence that I saw and the job that the jury did in this case, I find that that sentence is fair and just, and I sentence him to a total of 70 years in the penitentiary.
And what that kind of could have done.
That's Judge Annie O'Connell today giving Michael Hurley the maximum. It is 70 years in prison for Hurley of Lexington, Indiana, convicted of hitting and killing a Kansas father and injuring his family. They were walking right on the sidewalk in the heart of the tourist district of downtown Louisville back in 2022. And he was extremely high. The evidence in court showing Hurley drove his car with a lethal dose of fentanyl in his system. In October, jurors found Michael Hurley guilty of murder, driving under the influence, and several counts of assault. And he was convicted of crashing into the family walking on the sidewalk at 2nd and Market. Trey Jones died, and his wife and daughter are still dealing with life-altering injuries. Moments before receiving his sentence this morning, Hurley talked about his actions that left a family forever scarred.
There is nothing I can say or will say that will be able to make anyone feel any better about what's happened or the afflictions that are taking place because of it. All that I can say is that I am truly sorry about what's happened. I never meant for any of this to happen.
Amy Jones also spoke at Hurley's sentencing hearing. She said Hurley's actions, despite her daughter still being alive, she's no longer the same person that she once knew before the crash.
has condemned Ava to a life sentence of living as a lost soul, trying to navigate in an unfamiliar world.
Ava had committed to playing college basketball at the University of Iowa. However, she was never able to play and medically retired from the sport back in June. Tonight at 6 on WHAS 11 News, we're going to have more from the courtroom and what was said before Judge O'Connell made her decision.
Still a lot of holiday events going on tonight, and for tonight anyway, it'll be dry out there.
I don't know about a rainy December, Connie. We are supposed to have cold weather like this, Sam Gabrielli. So I know you're breaking it down. Is the weekend going to be a total washout, or do we get some dry time tomorrow on Saturday?
It's not going to be a total washout, Doug. Great question. Most of the day tomorrow will be pretty dry. We're going to be watching the rain move through from west to east late tomorrow. I do think of the timing of the rain likely in Louisville, probably as late as 7 or 8 p.m. on Saturday. So most tomorrow will be dry. Sunday likely pretty dry, but just keep in mind roadways will be pretty wet and damp during the day Sunday. Right now, though, no rain to be speaking of. 40 degrees in the city. We do have a good little spread of some 30s going on outside the metro, and the wind chill factor is even colder in some spots. It feels like we're right at near freezing actually at Bowman Field. 36 for the wind chill right now at Ali International. Jasper sitting at 33 for your feels like temperature. And once again to the north, we do have some cooler air once again pocketed across southern Indiana. As far as we're concerned in central Kentucky, Brandenburg's at 40. We do have some pretty good 40s going on as well from Campbellsville towards Lebanon. In our current temperature, again, a lot of 30s and 40s are spread on that map. But again, we're going to be previewing much warmer conditions tomorrow with a lot more clouds. I'll be talking more about those rain chances into Saturday night and Sunday morning. The full forecast straight ahead.
And we're seeing it in other cities. It has not happened here in Louisville, but I've seen it happen in Chicago and Detroit, where they don't have the apparatus, and then we can't run to the fire.
It's a problem the Louisville Fire Department wants to avoid. The fire department here faces an aging fleet of trucks and engines.
Well, some help has arrived. Metro Council approving a little over $6 million for the fire department fixes. It happened last night. Ian Hardwick is finding out from the fire chief how far this money will go.
Yeah, this is one of our auxiliaries. This one is over 30 years old.
That means this fire engine is a backup. Louisville Fire Chief Brian O'Neill is concerned too many go to the shop for repairs and never come back.
We're starting to hurt on those auxiliary apparatus. So if you look at, say, one of our large fires, like the church fire on East Broadway, we had to bring in off-duty firefighters to keep manning to protect the rest of the city because we had so many resources committed on that fire. We need auxiliary apparatus so we can continue to protect the city. You start running out of those and you're in trouble.
The chief sees trouble ahead for frontline trucks too, the type that are the first out the door. $6.1 million awarded by Metro Council Thursday night from a budget surplus is addressing the issue. About $5 million of that will buy the fire department 3 new vehicles. The other $1.1 million goes towards building repairs at 4 separate firehouses. Firehouse Engine 17, right next to Brown Foreman, is over 100 years old. In fact, these garage door bays used to be horse stalls. But if you take a look inside, that history is starting to crumble.
I mean, this place has seen a lot. Like, it's been around before World War II, and it serves this whole vast West End, Portland, down into Shively.
And the firefighters working inside deal with missing tiles and holes in the floor. In the gym, the plaster and paint peel while the ceiling crumbles away.
Facilities are not terrible, but they need help.
About $33 million more in help, the chief calculates. But his priority remains on replacing fleet vehicles that are entering their sunset years. Those take 3 years to make.
And as we go into the next budget cycle, once again, we're going to need about 3 or 4 apparatus per ordered next year, which is in 2025, so we can get them in 2028.
That'll cost another $6 million next year.
And you're talking about the fire department's victory, by the way, coming up on the rant line. The department's goal is to have a frontline fleet less than 20 years old by the year 2030. According to the National Fire Protection Association, frontline vehicles should not be older than 15 years old.
Right now, Louisville Metro health officials are warning of an increase they're seeing in cases of chickenpox. So far this year, they've had 14 cases, but half of those were reported in just the last month. The cases have all been in people who were either unvaccinated or too young to be vaccinated. Doctors are also saying chickenpox can be harmful for those who are pregnant and the fetus they're carrying.
The best advice is for people who are considering pregnancy to find out if they're immune, and if they're not immune, to get vaccination before pregnancy. If a person is pregnant and they are not immune to chickenpox, then they want to take measures to protect themselves if they can.
Health officials say those with chickenpox are contagious for up to 2 days before developing a rash. They also note it can spread by touching the rash of someone who has the shingles virus. To protect yourself, doctors urge you and your children to have the chickenpox vaccine, but be sure to speak with a pediatrician or primary care doctor with your questions.